This video is made possible by
For me, it was really kind of happenstance. I think I was always the kind of person who would start a company, but back in '96, I had been working for an educational software publisher. And two things happened at the same time. First, this particular publisher of software said, this internet thing, you don't think it's going anywhere. And the team of programmers who worked for me kind of looked at me and thought, that's crazy. And at the same time, I was having a challenge with one of the leaders of the company who was, there was some harassment going on. So honestly, those two things together spurred me into saying, this is it, this is a great opportunity, and I have compelling reason to go out on my own and do my own thing. I would say that the toughest moment for me was right after the 2001 crash. I had been in business then for going on 7 years, 6 years or so, but what happens during an economic downturn, which is also something I had to learn, is that unless you're in the financial industry, chances are the economic downturn is going to hit you a couple years after the stock market drops, if that's what you're looking at. So 2001 came, the dot-com busted, and in 2003, I was really struggling. We had lost a client, and it was a real hard lesson in the fact that, things like that happen through no fault of your own. They're bigger people, they're, maybe not running their businesses the way they should. There was a lot of froth in 2001, and they trashed the economy, and then your business is at risk. And it feels very unfair, and it feels very terrifying that through no actions of your own, the world is really coming apart economically. That was a tough moment, and one where I had a lot of doubts about how to continue or if my business would survive. At that moment, to have the courage and the wherewithal to pull yourself together, pick up the phone, and say, I made a mistake, I own it, and we're going to do whatever it takes to make it better. And that's a very humbling moment because you have to be ready for the blowback. Someone is angry and they have every right to be angry, and you have to learn the words that say that, to be able to say politely to a customer who's very angry, you're right, and we're going to do what it takes to make it better. That's important lesson for all young entrepreneurs to know, because I think one of the things about growing up is your tendency as a young person is to be defensive and come up with excuses and to say, this bad thing happened because of that person or that person or that person, or something out of our control, or the sun was in my eyes and I couldn't, whatever. And it takes a lot of courage and maturity to say, this mistake happened, I made the mistake, or someone on my team that reports to me made this mistake, we own it and we're going to make it better. That's a hard lesson to learn, and it's very humbling. It's very empowering once you do learn it, honestly, because then you don't have to you realize you don't have to make everything perfect. When you survive one of those and the customer eventually calms down and then appreciates your honesty, it really builds trust.
For more inspirational stories, check out pivotalplays.com.